Jadual harian Hana selalu sibuk. Jadi, saya kekal sihat dengan Vida C. Dengan vitamin C yang cukup setiap hari, tiada apa pun yang boleh menghalangi saya. Minumlah Vida C, perlindungan sistem imun anda.
Good evening, I'm Michael, and you're watching Kini News. MCO 2.0 is nothing like the first MCO. In fact, it doesn't even feel like an MCO. I have not gone through a single roadblock for weeks despite working in Selangor and living in KL. And starting tomorrow, we'll even be allowed to dine in restaurants. That's our MCO 2.0.
Sebelum ini, restoran walaupun dibuka daripada sehingga pukul 10 malam, tetapi hanya untuk dibawa pulang, take away ataupun makanan berbungkus. Mesyuarat semalam telah pun bersetuju untuk membenarkan secara dine-in ataupun makan di kedai, di restoran. Dan jumlah yang dibenarkan terhad kepada 2 orang saja untuk satu meja dengan penjarakan fizikal sekurang-kurangnya 1 meter. Pemilik restoran juga perlu memberi tugasan kepada sekurang-kurangnya seorang pekerja bagi premis yang membenarkan makan di dalam kedai ini, di dalam restoran ini, untuk memastikan kawasan keluar masuk pelanggan ke premis. Memastikan kehadiran pekerja dan pelanggan direkodkan. Penjarakan 1 meter semasa di dalam premis dan menghadkan bilangan pelanggan yang berada di premis pada satu-satu masa.
The Prime Minister's office today announced the full list of members for the independent committee to advise the Agong on the emergency.
The Prime Minister's office has announced the members of the independent committee to advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the proclamation of emergency. In a statement today, the PMO said that former Chief Justice Arifin Zakaria will lead the 19-member committee. They said the committee, which is formed under Section 2 of the Emergency Ordinance Essential Powers 2021, will serve to advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the implementation and the end of the emergency. They also added that the National Security Council will act as the secretariat in the committee. The emergency, which was declared on January 11th, gave the government sweeping powers to suspend parliament, suspend elections, seize property and resources, grant police powers to the military, and amend existing laws without going through parliament. In a televised address after the declaration of emergency, Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin had announced the setting up of the committee and listed out some of their responsibilities. He had said that one of their goals was to ensure that the emergency was enforced in a fair and transparent manner. The full list of committee members are as follows.
And now we take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 figures.
The Health Ministry today reported 2,764 new COVID-19 cases. This is the lowest since January 11th. 6 of today's cases were imported. For the local cases, Selangor continued to record the highest number of new cases with 862. This was followed by Johor with 521 cases, Kuala Lumpur with 422, and Malacca with 203. Since the movement control order began on January 13th, the states or territories where new cases are still trending up are in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Sarawak, Penang, and Malacca. 13 new deaths were also reported today, taking the COVID-19 death toll to 909. All 13 victims reported today are Malaysian citizens, the youngest being 49. There are 289 patients in the intensive care, with 127 requiring ventilator support.
Should the same rules that apply to the people be applied to cabinet members, or are they special for some reason? This is the question raised by Ahmad Zaid Hamidi.
Should a minister be fined for attending a gathering to hand out aid during the ongoing movement control order? This is the question posed by UMNO President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi, and he appears to have singled out International Trade and Industry Minister Azmin Ali. While Zahid did not name the minister but cited a gathering on February 7th to hand out aid to 500 residents in Selangor, where an RM30,000 allocation was also announced. Coincidentally, Azmin had on February 7th shared photos on Twitter that he had visited Chinese families and distributed aid to 500 of them in need. Azmin also announced that he had approved an allocation of RM30,000 to a local organization to provide free traditional medicine treatment to the community. Expressing these thoughts on Facebook, Zahid questioned that if the people must do things online, why can't the minister's contribution be done online? The Bagan Dato' MP said the government is strict about gatherings and questioned why ministers are exempted from the rules. He added that even UMNO Youth's efforts to provide free sanitation services were blocked due to the MCO.
Hashtag Adham Baba Letak Jawatan is trending at the #1 spot on Twitter in Malaysia. What could he have done to possibly deserve such a hashtag? Let's find out. But before that, if you like what we do on this channel, find out how you can support us by clicking on the link below. Now, back to Adham Baba.
Cabinet ministers returning from official trips abroad will not have to undergo the usual 10 days observation or home surveillance period. This was after Health Minister Dr. Adham Baba issued an order which provides more lenient quarantine rules for ministers. The order reduces ministers' quarantine period from 10 days to 3. Cited as the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Exemption Order 2021, it was published in the Federal Gazette yesterday and is in effect from today. It states that the minister exempts cabinet ministers who return from any official visits abroad from the application of Section 15 of the Act. This was in reference to the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Act 1988 or Act 342. Section 15 states that an authorized officer may order any contact to undergo observation in such place and for such period as he may think fit, or to undergo surveillance until he may be discharged without danger to the public. The current quarantine period set by the government for people entering the country from overseas is 10 days. With Adham's order, cabinet ministers who return from any official visit abroad must undergo observation for 3 days, or undergo surveillance until discharged without endangering the public. It is unclear if the order will apply to Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, who returned to Malaysia on February 5th after a 2-day official visit to Indonesia.
Do you think COVID-19 knows if you're a minister or an ordinary citizen? I don't think so, based on the number of cabinet members infected in the past. This is why Lim Kit Siang says there shouldn't be double standards.
Iskandar Puteri MP Lim Kit Siang has called on Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin to uphold his pledge that there will be no double standards in COVID-19 quarantine SOPs. In a statement today, he said Muhyiddin should direct his Health Minister, Dr. Adham Baba, to retract his order on COVID-19 quarantine rules for cabinet ministers. Lim was responding to Adham's order, which reduced the quarantine period for ministers from 10 to 3 days. He noted that Muhyiddin had in October last year given his assurance that there were no double standards in COVID-19 quarantine rules, as even he and other ministers would not be exempted, and said Muhyiddin had said that ministers must comply with the rules and action can be taken against them for breaching the rules. The DAP veteran also noted that Muhyiddin previously said he would use the cane against those who do not comply with the SOPs to curb the spread of COVID-19. He questioned if he was going to start with his own health minister. Lim added that action such as Adham's order undermines public trust at a time when there should be an all-of-government and whole-of-society efforts to fight the pandemic.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Ismail Sabri Yaakob. Thank you for watching.